This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
By 1911, the spread of Nickelodeons and the increasing popularity of films had already had a major impact on audience numbers for popular plays. According to theater critic William Lyon Phelps, a decrease in the number of melodramas and farces began around 1907. As the cinema's drive for stability and respectability proved increasingly successful, it began to impact on audience numbers for comedies, dramas, classics, and spectacles, resulting in the disastrous New York theatrical season of 1911 and 1912, in which many of the legitimate houses remained closed for the entire season. These developments coincided with the trend toward longer features and the need to use larger venues to show them. They also coincided with the emergence of film stars, a phenomenon modeled on and prompted by a similar well-established phenomenon in the theater as well as in other forms of contemporary entertainment. Together, they prompted theater impresarios, directors, playwrights, and stars to turn to the cinema as an outlet for their talents and as a much-needed source of income. One manifestation of this development was the production of films featuring well-known stage stars such as James K. Hackett, James O'Neill, Sir Herbert Beerbohm Tree, and Minnie Maddern Fiske. Another was the formation of companies to make feature-length films based on plays, scripted by playwrights, produced by theatrical producers, or directed by theater directors. Some of these companies, like the Protective Amusement Company formed by Claw and Erlanger and A.H. Woods in 1913, were fairly short-lived, but others lasted much longer. They included the World Film Corporation, the Oliver Morosco Photoplay Company, the Famous Players Motion Picture Company, the Jesse L. Lasky Feature Play Company, Famous Players Lasky, and Paramount Pictures. These companies were devoted not just to the occasional or piecemeal production of feature-length films, but also the production of programs of films of this kind. Famous Players was the first to do so, initially planning to produce around a dozen films a year. The GFC had licensed the distribution of Queen Elizabeth and the Prisoner of Zenda from 1913, Famous Players' first domestic production. However, when Famous Players approached the GFC to distribute its films nationwide on a regular basis, it refused. Along with most of the other national distribution cartels, the GFC was still geared to the supply of shorter films and shorter features, and was unconvinced by the idea of an annual series of feature-length films. Famous Players therefore turned to the states' rights system. But while this system facilitated longer runs, longer publicity campaigns, and higher admission charges, it also had a number of drawbacks. Each film had to be sold to potential distributors in specific regions and states. National distribution was by no means guaranteed, and in addition, the multiplication of buyers, agents, distributors, and exhibitors within and across different territories complicated the collection of fees and slowed the flow of income to producers. In order to rectify these problems, Famous Players induced the formation of 5 states' rights distributors. These distributors signed long-term contracts with Famous Players, with rental prices agreed in advance, thus eliminating many of the producers' distribution problems with the stroke of a pen. The move was an undoubted success. Famous had released only 2 films in its first 19 months of existence, but in the year following September 1913 it released 21 films. These distributors, among them William Hodkinson's Progressive Motion Picture Company, merged to form Paramount Pictures on May 8, 1914. In need of a regular supply of feature-length films, Hodkinson, as Paramount's president, offered 5-year distribution contracts to Famous Players, the Lasky Feature Play Company, and Bosworth Incorporated, which had been formed in 1913 to produce feature-length films based on Jack London's novels.